Well, hello and welcome to Tarot Living with Manasa. I am Manasa, the diva of divination. Hello and welcome. So I know what you're saying. Is this Tarot Tuesday on Friday? Actually, yes. No, it is not Tarot Tuesday on Friday, but it is Friday, and it's Good Friday. And so most of you know that I am a pastor from a traditional church, and now I serve in a New Thought church, which is a non-traditional, non-denominational church. But this time of year, Holy Week, starting with Palm Sunday last Sunday, and then ending with Easter Sunday, this coming Sunday, is one of my favorite times of the year. And one of my favorite sessions, or one of my favorite things about Holy Week, is the 7 last words. So in my traditional church, I have 7 big time preachers come and they would preach on these sayings from the cross. And I remember one year, one of the ministers was coming up from LA. I was in Pasadena, and he was preaching at his own church and then was going to come up and preach at the church where I was an intern. I remember my Pastor May, told me, well, if he doesn't make it here in time, you're going to have to preach. And I was like, oh, hell no. So I remember when Reverend White got in the parking lot, I almost ran out. I ran out, grabbed his robe, and was almost pulling him into the church. And then as I have evolved and become a part of the New Thought and New Age movement, the first year of the pandemic in 2020, I saw an amazing group of New Thought ministers, African American ministers from a group that's in Jamaica, and including Reverend Michael Beckwith from Agape, do this presentation, giving it a metaphysical spin, an expanded spin. Not really a spin, but the hangman, a different perspective. And so today I want to use this text as my tarot reading for the week, as my oracle reading, as my spiritual guidance and message for the week, using oracle cards. They're all Kyle Gray oracle cards, and looking at this great moment, excuse my itchy nose, this great moment in the life of this amazing man. So I want to take a look at the last saying of Jesus, the 7 last sayings of Master Teacher Jesus. And what I like about this is that who you are under pressure is who you are. So if you want to really see what a light worker, a master magician, someone who is really living their oneness, because those were all the things that Jesus, as he was stepping into his Christhood, was embodying. And then on this, this is his the last test for him. How does he do that? I say there was a light worker. There's examples of people thinking thoughts in their mind about him, and then Jesus calls them out on it. Perceiving their thoughts is what it's a clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient. A master magician, able to take a little boy's school lunch and feed thousands of people. Healing. Obviously, when people were hurting, he, Reiki master, but also being able to heal them emotionally and psychologically. And so this great man on his journey of embodying his Christhood, of living his oneness with Source, we get to see at this time, in this circumstance, my wife's like, don't use this word, but almost like a clinic. Like you've seen Kobe Bryant or LeBron James, just get on the floor and just show out, putting on a clinic on this is how it's done. And this is what these words represent to me and this man's masterful journey. So we're going to go through the 7 words. No, it's not going to be 3 hours like it is in most churches. We're going to go through this quickly. But I am honored to be able to continue this amalgamation of my love of ministry and of serving and being a spiritual guide and a teacher and a preacher, and then doing that using the divination decks. And so here we are, the 7 last sayings of Jesus, and these are phrases. So sometimes you'll hear it called the 7 last words, but they're really phrases of the Christ as Jesus is evolving and taking his, writing his master thesis to get his PhD in his divinity, living it. These are those 7 last sayings, and they come from the sacred text of the New Testament. So the first saying is, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. And so this, being a light worker, being a person living in your divinity, forgiveness has got to be your default. It has got to be my default. It's got to be the way that we live. Forgiveness with an understanding that whatever happened, and I know I've done readings for people, I've had sexual assaults, people been raped, robbed, harmed, that you have to forgive with the understanding that when that person was acting from the level of where they're at, it doesn't excuse what they did, but it helps you understand that they couldn't have made another choice. They couldn't have been any better because their vibration, their woundedness, their desperateness, their thirstiness for power was driving all those things. And so to forgive with an understanding, it's not excusing what happened. It's not saying what they did was okay. It's not accepting your victimness, but it's releasing yourself from that burden. That you are free of whatever that person or people's intention was, and you are free to move forward. You forgive with that understanding that you are stepping forward, that is not who you are and is not who you were at that time, and you are living in this present moment. And in this present moment, you send healing, love, and understanding back to yourself, to myself in that situation, and when you forgive with that understanding and that calling out, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. I love this picture of Lord Shiva, calling upon that inner power, that forgiveness comes from within. And sometimes you got to dig really deep. But it is that Christ consciousness, that Sophia creator, divine feminine power that you can go within and say, you didn't hurt the true me. You didn't hurt the eternal me. And even what happened to the physical me or the emotional me, I release that hook. I release that energy and I move forward in power. I forgive with understanding. The second word is, verily, verily, I say unto thee, today you shall be with me in paradise. Now, to me, this is the most insane, crazy verse in the Bible. And this whole story is crazy. So while this master teacher Jesus is being crucified, he's being crucified with two other criminals, because he is being crucified as a criminal. And people say there was a thief. Well, thieves don't get publicly executed. Even today, they don't get the death sentence. So master teacher Jesus, along with these two other people, are being executed publicly to teach a lesson to people, like, don't do what these people did, which means you cause problems for either the religious structure, you cause problems for the Roman government, and we're going to let you know, don't do that. We're going to let you know in this hard way. So one of the people who's being executed is like, dude, if you the dude, right? If you who you say you was, get off this cross and get us down. But the other man says, shut up. This man is innocent. This man does not deserve what's happening to him. We are getting what we deserve. And then he turns to Jesus. Now, these men are probably in the most pain they've ever been in their lives. They are being embarrassed. They're ashamed. I always love how these pictures have all their winker wankers covered. But, they were being shamed. They were naked, wood up the wazoo everywhere. And in the midst of all that pain, this man is able to connect with something higher. He's able to see in Master Teacher Jesus. He knows his history, and he takes a leap of faith at the craziest time. He takes a leap of faith and he says, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus just is high on these pain and freaked out and being shamed. He says, you will be with me today. The other guy takes a leap of faith, and Master Teacher Jesus is expecting miracles. And that is part of how you live as a light worker. Sometimes you got to take a leap of faith. And I need to hear that today, because I'm just feeling some kind of way about my business. I'm like, ain't nobody trying to get a reading with me. Let me just do something else. But I said, no, I got to expect miracles. I got to. Sorry for getting emotional. It's just really close to where I am right now. But I'm expecting a miracle. I know that even on my worst day, that the power of the divine is still working, still moving and grooving. And you continue to take that leap of faith. So I love this crazy conversation between two crazy men, because they show that the way that you go forward in your Christ consciousness, in developing your divinity, is that you got to take a leap of faith. And you've got to expect miracles. The third word, woman, behold thy son. and behold thy mother. These words spoken to Mother Mary and to John the disciple. I think it's very interesting that even though they'll mention that the other Mary, his wife, was there at his resurrection, they won't acknowledge her at this place. But in the midst of all of this, and can you imagine how his mother must have been feeling? She's like, now the angel came to me and I got pregnant, and then there were the shepherds, then there was the wise men, there was the time that he got lost and he was in the temple. She's like, did I miss something? And why is this is supposed to be the Messiah, the person who's going to change the world. And John, that's his only disciple, right? He had 12 disciples, but only one is there because the other 12 grown men, John was probably much younger, had run off. And in the midst of his pain, in the midst of this, he is still able to embody holy love. And in the midst of that, he is able to say, we can choose our family. We may not be biologically connected, but right now, Mama, this is your son. And John, I'm asking you to take care of my mother. And I can really, really relate to this. My mom's not having some medical problems, but dealing with her HMO, and it's like, Lily's got a great friend, Kestrel, and they are there, and I have a friend, Kara. People who can say, and Kara's like, I will be there for your mama. I will take care of your mama. And Kestrel took my mom to lunch on her birthday. That you need to know that there's people who will love who you love the way that you love them. And that's a holy love, a love that goes beyond DNA, a love that goes beyond family, a love that is divine, and that in the midst of his pain, in the midst of this evolution that is happening publicly, he is able to extend that love. All right, what's our fourth word? Elo, laba sabachthani. I don't know why they got it in the Aramaic. My God, why have you forsaken me? And I love this because this says you don't have to be perfect all the time on your journey. The temple of truth, that there's time in this, that this throat chakra needs to tell the truth. I'm pissed off. I'm sick of these folks. I don't like what's happening. I want this to change. And that is the truth. That is being a light worker, is speaking the truth. Even your pain, even your disappointment, even your frustration. It's about connecting with that and calling upon. I love these cards, and thank you to Kyle Gray. This is his angel guides. And this is from his, the Gateways oracle cards. But having that understanding that even in the midst of feeling a certain kind of way, that divine, what is it, Mother Earth and Father Sky, that they are still there. And that you can still call on them in the midst of feeling down, in the midst of feeling deserted, in the midst of feeling alone, in the midst of feeling depressed. You can still call upon that divinity, call upon your divine family, call upon your ancestors, the people from your original planet. They are here, so call out. I'm lonely, I'm afraid, I don't know what to do, I'm depressed, I want to slap everybody, or as my beautiful wife does, which seems only to happen to me, I'm going to want to rebuke everybody, right? And so that there is a truth, we can't be faking it. That there are times, and thank goodness, in the narratives of Master Teacher Jesus, this is like one day when he really seems to be feeling that way. And so, if you have 2 or 3 days in a year, 2 or 3 days in a month, you're good. But be honest. There's no need to be faking the funk. That there are times when we've got to call out to the universe and say, what in the heck? And then this phrase, I thirst. Again, that same thing about realizing that we have to take care of our humanity. We can't be so spiritual, crystals and sage and my tarot cards and my oracle cards and my meditation. I put my crystals, sometimes you got to remember to take care of your body. This beautiful vessel, I say any woman that gave birth to a child, you better be good to this body. You put this body, you giving birth to a child, you put this body as close to death as you'll be until you step off this planet. And so that holy grail, that understanding to honor this body, and that to have that bigger vision that what you want wants you, that what you seek is seeking you. And so to call out to it, invite it, ask your angels, ask your ancestors, call upon your planetary teams to bring those things to you. so that you can be satisfied, body, mind, soul, and spirit. The sixth word is, it is finished. And what I love remembering from hearing this before from the very ministers that had preached this before, that it is finished in English, it's 3 words. In the Aramaic, it's 1 word, and it's a statement. Clear, cancel, and release. I am finished. I am releasing this. I am still hanging on. I am still holding on to my faith, and I am releasing what appears to be the worst day of my life. I am releasing what appears to be abandonment by my own divine self. I'm clearing that, I'm canceling that, and I am releasing that, because still expecting miracles, still taking a step of faith. And then, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. Surrender. I think it's very important. The first word is to forgive with understanding, calling upon that divine within you. And he ends again, into thy hands, Father, I commend my spirit, talking to your divine self, and surrender, being that part of this word. So what are the lessons? What can we learn from this great man's journey, from him putting on a clinic on how to continue to be a light worker, continue stepping into your Christ consciousness, continuing embodying that Shakti, creative, powerful energy? What are the lessons to learn? The first one is to trust the universe and to know that there is a sacred plan. That not that God is, if you say, well, God is in control. Well, but you are God. God is within you. So yes, you're in control, and you demonstrate that control, one, by trusting the universe and realizing there's a sacred plan. I had a reading years ago with this wonderful woman, Leah, and she says, well, part of the reason you came here as a Black person is because you wanted to experience, because when you came to visit this planet before, you saw that Black people were being mistreated and poor, and you're a wealthy person and you usually live that type of way. And so this lifetime, and I once told my guides, okay, let me just say, if I have that crazy plan the next time, say, right? But there is a sacred plan. In the midst of all of that has happened in my life, I'm in the happiest place in my life. So I take it all. I take it all, that this sacred plan has brought me to a place. And, with joy, I'm in a loving, joyful relationship. My daughter is getting ready to step into a magical new adventure in her life, and I'm so glad to have been able to provide that for her. My mother in good health. I work at a crazy place, and I love it. I live in a beautiful, gorgeous house, a safe and sacred space. I have more tarot cards and oracle cards, don't let my wife hear me say that, than I probably need. Actually, it's part of my business, so I need many, many more. But so from starting out, I was born a poor Black child. If you know that, what movie that's from, we'll leave it there. But poor no more, in holistically. And so I've learned to trust the universe, even through my tears from before. I trust the universe, and I know that there is a sacred plan to bring all that I want and desire into my life, and to be all that I need to be on this planet to fruition. And then lastly, to close it, part of this journey is about spiritual growth. I don't even know how to add to that. It's about spiritual. It's about growing spiritually, growing in the true self that you are, and that many of the things that we go through, that is that lesson. But one of the things that my pastor talks about is your default going to light. Is your default, I know the divine's got me? Is your default, I'm a divine being and I can change a situation. I can create something out of it. Are you growing spiritually? Or are you in the same place? I was on the page, this whole thing happened with Will Smith, and I was on one of the YouTube pages that are part of the Tarot Love community. And this woman was just going on and on, just judging Will Smith, and all the other ladies in the thing were just judging him. And so I put a little simple comment. When you've lived one day as a Black man, you have the right to judge. Well, I saw by the look on her face that she saw that comment and she kept going, right? Are you growing spiritually, or are you just take taking how you are and wrapping it in this little spirituality? Jesus accused the Pharisees and Sadducees. He says, you're beautiful on the outside like a tomb. You're beautiful on the outside, but on the inside you're full of death and decay. And that's what happens when you don't grow spiritually. And this whole journey is about transformation. Transformation. Things that transform. Look at a snake, has to come out of its skin. Caterpillar has to go into that cocoon and liquefy and come out as a butterfly. This process is not easy, but it's beautiful. And the end result, freedom, wholeness, and health. And we see this in the ministry and in the work of Master Teacher Jesus. And we have the tarot deck, this oracle deck, to lead us on that path. And that's what I love to do, to guide you, to connect you with your divinity, so that as you're growing spiritually and that as you're transforming, you and me together, we are transforming, and we are raising the image, raising the vibration, raising the roof, and being a transformative presence for Mother Gaia on this planet. I wish you a happy Good Friday. I wish you a wonderful weekend. Tomorrow is the full moon in Libra, and it's also Passover, so I wish you a happy and blessed Passover. And remember, this is a lot of holy energy this weekend, and then Easter on Sunday. Where can you be transformed? What can you release in this full moon? That your spiritual growth, that you can be transformed, and that even on your worst day, people will see the light of the divine in you, and they'll speak it to you, and you'll be able to respond. And so blessings, thank you, and see you later.